Hey there friends, it's Missy with the Hip Kit Club, and I'm back with a new layout, and I'm using the 2017 August kits for this. This is my first layout as part of the new term for the new design team, so I am very happy to be back. And I am part of a new Monday deal called Mixed Media Monday, where a couple of different design team members are going to be showcasing layouts featuring mixed media. So what I've done here is I pulled out all the things that I think I want to use. I want to use all these bright colors. I pulled out some die cuts, some papers, some Project Life cards, some exclusive frames, the Echo Park stencil. A lot of this is from Crate Paper Maggie Holmes Carousel. And so another part of our theme for this week is cut files. Now, let me show you my pictures. I made a strip here. This is my youngest child. She's pulling my hair, she's smudging my glasses, and then she decides to grab my face and snuggle with me. And it was so, she does this to me all the time. She tries to beat me up, and then she kisses me and snuggles with me. It's so funny. Yeah, her main goal in life is to smudge my glasses and pull my hair, and she's laughing the whole time. So it's funny, and I finally got it on camera. So as part of the cut files, I went ahead and created these. If you look at the cut files, there is a group of designs that Kimberly Hutchison designed, and one of those is a long scalloped piece. And what I did is I created square frames from the scallops. I just duplicated it and created a square and welded them together, and so now I have a fun scalloped frame. And I cut those on 4 different pattern papers, and I wasn't sure how I was going to use them yet. I decided to make a photo strip, so I have these 3 photos kind of all on one 4x6 piece of photo paper, and I'm just kind of playing around here. I'm just experimenting with all of those things that I pulled out. So what I did decide to do was use this pattern paper as my background, and it is, I believe this is from Pink Paisley, and I've been on a gray kick lately. I think this is my 3rd layout recently where I've used gray as a background. I think it works great, and I like this one because it kind of reads as a solid, but it's still got a pattern to it. And that was white acrylic paint that I used there to kind of white out some of the area. And now I'm going to do some of my mixed media work. I decided to use the little floral stencil here as a stamp, and so I sprayed some of that shimmers that we got in the color kit right on top of it, and then just flipped it over and stamped it down. And it worked okay. It didn't work as wonderful as I thought it was going to. You can kind of see some of the flowers, but I like the way it looks. It's different than the packaging technique. It just gives you a different look. And if you like to change up the way you apply your paint to your paper, then using a stencil this way is a fun way to try it. So the pink that we got in the color kit this month is a Shimmers Colorings, and it is called Pretty in Pink. And we also got this yellow paint. It's also shimmers, and it's creamies, and the color is Daffodil. It's a very pretty soft yellow, and those come already, well, when you take the lid off, they're hard. They're almost like a cake form, and you have to add water and let it sit for a few minutes to kind of let the hard paint soften up, and then you can use it. Now it's very soft and yellow, and I'm just combining some pinks and some yellows here. If they blend together to create an orange color, that's fine. I actually like combining pink and pink and yellow together. I think it makes a pretty different shade. Now, as always, I say this a lot. I feel like I repeat myself, but when you're doing a background like this, it always kind of looks like a hot mess in the beginning. And then when you start to add things back on top of it, it totally changes how it looks. Now, I wanted to add in a little bit different, some shadings of pink. So I pulled out some of my gelatos in pinks and yellows, and then I'm just scribbling it down and smudging it. And since I added that white paint beforehand, the gelatos smudge and blend and smear super easily. I'm not having to really add any water or anything like that. They just smudge with my finger perfectly. So I thought I would add in my 3rd favorite color, which is, you know, no surprise since I use these colors all the time, which is aqua or turquoise. I'm kind of using a blue one and then more of an aqua green one together just to kind of create some different tones and shades there. And I'm going to tilt my photo strip at an angle, kind of like you see there, since in all the pictures she's looking kind of up into the upper left area, and so I'm going to put her on the bottom right so it kind of looks like she's looking across the page. She's got a lot of area to look at. if that makes sense. So I'm going to start to play around with all of the things again. I'm going to try to figure out how I want to use these frames. And I know I'm going to do a lot of layering on this, and just going to play around. I pulled out everything over there on the side, and I'm just going to bring it in. I did decide to cut my photo on the bottom off and kind of split the strip up so I could put Sweet right in the middle. And I love how that looks. I'm glad I did that. And I'm going to use that word sweet. That's going to wind up being my title. I thought about coming up with a fun, crazy title since my pictures are so funny, but I wanted to utilize some of the things that were in the kits. And if you've got the kits by now, you know that there are a ton of fun, scripty words like this from the Carousel collection that are perfect for titles. And so I'm just going to use sweet, and then I can write about what's going on in the journaling. So what I'm going to wind up doing is creating a little cluster over on the upper left area as well. And I know I want to leave these frames just like they are, and so I'm going to go ahead and glue those down so I can move that all as one piece without them flopping and flipping around. And see how the background already looks different. Now that I've added the frames and I'm working with the photos there right on top of it, you can see how it looks different. So, and I know, like I said before, I say this a lot, but don't be afraid to try this. If you like the look of this, but I know a lot of people tell me, oh, I'm afraid I'm going to make a mess. I'm afraid I'm going to mess it up. Just start to experiment with it and start to play around with it. Start with just a little bit at a time. You know, add a little bit on your paper and then bring your photo and put it on top of it and see how it looks. And then if it's not right, add a little bit more. And that's where the gelatos come in handy, because, you know, the gelatos you can kind of smudge just as much as you want. And, you know, it's a little bit different than using liquid, because sometimes we don't think we're using a lot of liquid and it winds up being a lot. And, you know, the gelatos are a little more controlled. So that's something to think about too. If you're just starting out and you want to try, the gelatos are fun too. So obviously I'm going to be having lots of colors going on here. I'm going to mix and match some of the Project Life cards, some of the Carousel crepe paper, Maggie Holmes things, some of the exclusive frames from Hip Kit this month. And I printed my pictures in black and white because I thought that they would look a lot better with all of these bright colors. The photos themselves, like our couch, is more of a tan color, and she was wearing a light blue shirt, and I can't remember what I was wearing, but the colors in the photos were nothing special, and I don't feel like putting them in black and white takes away from the photos. You know, I always look at my photos and think, you know, is this going to change the quality of the picture if I put it in black and white? Is it going to take away from the actual photo? And in this case, it did not. You know, sometimes, like when I'm scrapping pool pictures, I print those in color because I love the blue, and everything is so bright and sunny and pretty. And it just depends on the photo, you know. So these, I felt like it was okay to make them black and white. Those little black pieces that I just added there to the edges are also in the kits. There's a pack of labels from Pretty Little Studio. And then I'm going to tuck in these two floral die cuts from Crepe Paper, as well as some other little doodads that came in the color kit. Or not the color kit. Why did I say that? One of the kits. I can't remember. It's not the color kit. Anyway, so I'm just playing around. Oh, yeah. I wanted to mention, in one of my previous videos recently, someone mentioned that my glue bottle was, quote, so nasty. It made me laugh because of all the stuff I'm doing. Someone was staring at my glue bottle. Yes, it is dirty, because my hands are dirty all the time. As you can see, I'm smudging with my fingers, I'm gluing, I'm painting, I'm gessoing. And so when I'm scrapbooking, my hands are sticky and they have color all over them. And so I grab my glue bottle constantly, and so whatever's on my hands is going to rub off onto the label, onto my bottle. And I've been using that glue bottle for 2 years now, you know, and so it's dirty, and that's okay. It does not bother me one bit, but it just made me laugh. you should see the rest of my room. You should see my desk. If you think my glue bottle's dirty, you should see the rest of my room. Oh, you would die. Anyway, that's another story for another day. I'm adding in some thread here, of course, and it's black, and I love how that looks. Maybe one day, when I have a free spare moment, I will organize my scrapbook room and show you where everything is, because several people have asked me to do a room tour, and there's no way that is happening, because literally it looks like Hobby Lobby blew up in here. I'm always pressed for time, and so I'm going from one layout to the next, and I just don't have a lot of time to organize and clean up. So it's an organized mess, just like my layouts are. I know where everything is, but if you were to see it, you would be ashamed. You'd be like, oh, come on, Missy, you can clean that up. But one day when I have time, I will, I promise. I just closed the door. So I'm adding in some of the exclusive wood veneer buttons here, and I also added in some of those adorable little pom-pom balls, whatever they're called, from crepe paper. I hadn't used those yet, and I just kind of scattered them around like enamel dots. I think they're cute. So those are going to be on there, and now I'm going to work on a little cluster over here on the left, and I'm just going to mix and match some things like I did over on the right. I'm going to start with that ombre pink Project Life card and just sort of build this little cluster playing around here. I decided to make another banner. I think on the very first layout that I made using these kits, I made a banner. It was the layout that I made with all the kites on it. I made a banner. And if you got this little package of all those little banner pieces, there are a ton of them. I know Flora made a layout with a ton of banners on a layout. It looked so good. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to make another banner. And all the colors matched so perfectly, and it was just the perfect little thing to add right there, I thought. Now my thought was, do I make this cluster straight or do I tilt it to match the rest of the layout? And I decided to tilt it because, you know, I didn't want to make one thing super straight and the other thing kind of crooked. And so I'm going to make everything kind of crooked. And now I was running into the problem of, I want to use everything I have out, but I can't use it all. It's too much. This is the fourth layout I've made with this, and I'm still suffering from, I want to use everything on one layout. You know, I usually have that situation when I make my first layout, but this is the fourth, and I'm still overflowing with product, and I still just want to cram it all on one page. So I'm adding a little bit more of the mixed media with the gelatos, the shimmers, in the same colors that I did originally, using my brush a little bit just to kind of smush it around. In my napkin, yeah, you see, my glue bottle's dirty, my napkin's dirty. I just use things until they fall apart. Works for me. Smudging, smudging. See, there goes my finger getting smudgy and dirty again. And I decided I'm going to use the fourth frame that I cut on my Cameo as part of this cluster over here. And so I'm going to cut that off. I did some stitching in black thread through the banner, and so now it's officially stuck down, and it's got the little string hanging off over on the right. And you can see how I kind of tilted that scallop frame so it's the same as the main part of the layout. And now I'm just going to do some little embellishing here. More of the thread, more of the enamel dots, or not enamel dots, wood veneer buttons. We didn't get enamel dots this time, did we? I can't remember. I did add that little gold glittery 2. I wanted to use that whole strip of numbers, but I just used the 2 since there were 2 of us in the picture. And then I'm just going to add a few more little things here. I'm going to pull off some black stickers from the crepe paper sticker sheet, and then some of the puffy stickers from the puffy sticker sheet. See, I still have so much of those left. Oh my goodness, there's plenty of titles that you could use on those. So many big, fun, scripty words. The last thing I'm going to do is add in some black splatters, and that is some black shimmers from my stash. And I did add some journaling, and I did make the journaling straight. It tucked up real nicely up underneath that banner. But that's the final layout. I think it's super fun. It's a lot of color. You can still see the gray background, even though I whited a lot of it out. can see the close-ups here. Lots of layers, lots of detail. This was really fun to put together. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I can't wait to see what the other design team members made for Mixed Media Monday. But let me know if you have any questions about any of these products or anything. The September kit should be on their way very soon. So yippee, yippee, yippee for that. And I'll see y'all next time. So thanks for watching and have a great week.